What's going on, everyone? It's your boy Savvy, and welcome back to the Savvy Show. And in today's episode, we have an animation on our hands, and this one is from ODDity. It's been a while since we did an animation on the channel, so I'm excited to see what they have in store for us today. This SCP is SCP-184, the Architect. So from just name alone, not too sure what this SCP will be all about. However, we're going to find out today. So with that all out the way, if you guys are excited for this animation and this reaction, please remember to smash that like button, join the family. Also remember to turn on post notifications so you do not miss an upload. I'm telling you, if you love SCP content, you like my reaction style, this is home, man. Join, have a blast with us. We go full throttle, all gas, no brakes, and we don't slow down for nothing. I'd love to have you. So let's have fun together. And with that being said, without any further ado, let's get this show started. Alrighty, SCP-184. Let's go.
SCP-184, an anomalous object, also known as the Architect, is a small metal dodecahedron, 10 centimeters tall and 10 centimeters wide.
Okay.
Each of its faces has a circular hole, and each corner of the object has a small metal sphere. The Foundation is unsure of the exact metal alloy that SCP-184 is made of, but it's highly magnetic, and somewhat similar to brass.
Magneto?
It is incredibly risky to bring SCP-184 into any enclosed space, but especially a large building. This is because the anomalous effect of SCP-184 is that it is capable of increasing the interior dimensions of a space without affecting its outer dimensions, similar to the TARDIS in the television show Doctor Who, but on a far larger scale.
I would have never guessed that. That's really cool. Interesting. Let's see what he's going to do with those powers. Or, I mean, this item.
The interior dimensions of a building affected by SCP-184 will increase by hundreds of meters every day. These effects typically take hold an hour after SCP-184 is first introduced into its new environment.
Dang.
Through repeated observation, SCP Foundation scientists have been able to observe patterns in the way that SCP-184's effects alter its environment.
Yeah, and how can you control that ability? Because I'm assuming you guys have this contained. Whatever room it's in being contained, wouldn't that be expanding the room itself? Unless you guys found a way to, like, halt the powers, but how could you do that? What the heck?
First, it will expand the walls of the rooms within the building, increasing the space in each room without affecting the height of the ceiling. This effect will continue until these rooms are triple their original size. Once the existing rooms have been expanded, SCP-184 will begin creating new rooms. At first, these rooms will appear to be relatively normal copies of the existing rooms within the building. However, like cells multiplying so fast that they begin developing cancerous traits, these new rooms will begin to exhibit bizarre qualities as the process marches on.
Wow.
Rooms will become increasingly strange in a number of ways. For example, new objects generated in the room will start to be made of inappropriate materials. In one case, glass books were observed manifesting in a duplicate bedroom. In a duplicate kitchen, researchers noted a wooden microwave. But that's not all. The actual shapes of new rooms will become increasingly odd too. Doors will lead to nowhere, often just opening to brick walls.
This is really cool. It actually cells, pretty much. Like, the way this SCP goes about is like the anatomy. Like, you know, when you produce multiple cells, there's anomalies where, you know, cancers could occur. And these, you know, situations are exactly that. Wow.
Hallways will become tiny or cavernous or twist into confusing mazes. But even as the interior becomes increasingly corrupted, the outside will still continue the same. Foundation researchers have observed that these anomalous effects are particularly potent in homes. Having SCP-184 somewhere around the house would be a terrifying prospect, as after even one night of transformation, you could become hopelessly lost and starve in your own home.
Oh my god.
That being said, the anomalous effects of SCP-184 can affect pretty much anything containing it. Even a simple cardboard box developed an incredibly complex internal structure after only a few hours of holding it.
But how can you contain it?
It is worth noting that removing SCP-184 will not reverse its effects.
It's in the box. Whoa. Okay, yo. They're not... Okay, he's creating these rooms for the first, you know, example. When it was multiple rooms, it's those rooms within that one room. Within all those... Yo, that is so complicated. Could someone jump in there? Like, literally, if you put, like, I don't know, a rat, would he just go in and fall within all these rooms and stuff? Because it looks like a regular box. It's kind of like a pocket dimension. Pretty much is. If you put this in your pocket, you literally could put whatever you want in your pocket because it will keep on expanding that one pocket. And it'll just become a bigger and bigger and bigger pocket. You literally have a pocket dimension. Literally.
But it will prevent further structural transformation. SCP-184 presented a real challenge for the SCP Foundation. Even their namesake, the acronym SCP for Secure, Contain, Protect,
Can't even do that.
would just be playing into 184's hands. Typically, anomalous objects of this variety are placed in containment on Site-19, the largest SCP containment site. However, an urgent memo from a Foundation researcher warned against this. The location warping abilities of SCP-184 could irreparably damage the interior of Site-19 and cause a massive, multiple anomaly containment breach.
Jeez.
The SCP Foundation would need to get creative to find an effective method of containing the ARCHITECH. Before being secured by the Foundation, it's believed that the anomalous effects of SCP-184 may have been involved in the creation of several locations of interest currently being monitored by the Foundation. Among them is Backdoor Soho, an anomalous community hidden in Soho, New York. Backdoor Soho is a hidden location populated by anartists, a name for artists of a supernatural nature, practitioners of magic, and anomalous creatures.
Oh my god.
We know that the SCP Foundation acquired SCP-184 sometime before the early 90s, as it was discovered in the famous Kowloon walled city in Hong Kong, which was demolished in 1994. Though it's possible that the recovery efforts for SCP-184 were what caused the damage to the Kowloon walled city in the first place. Reports of strange activity in the city was what first attracted Foundation operatives. Initially,
why are you vibrating like that?
Law enforcement took charge of the case, but they proved to be too gung-ho and violent.
They tweaking.
Instead, Mobile Task Force Zeta-9 were sent in to do the job correctly. Zeta-9, also known as the Mole Rats, are a group that specializes in working with anomalous locations, especially locations with shifting topographies.
The Mole Rats? Did they just call themselves the Mole Rats? Yo, come on, don't play with me. Is that really your guys' name? I hope I'm hearing things.
Instead, Mobile Task Force Zeta-9 were sent in to do the job correctly. Zeta-9, also known as the Mole Rats, are...
The Mole Rat! Yo. Out of all the names you can name yourself, you want to name yourselves the Mole Rats? Y'all really playing with me this episode. Oh my god.
A group that specializes in working with anomalous locations, especially locations with shifting topographies. They were able to execute the mission and retrieve SCP-184 successfully, with only minimal casualties.
What are you going to do with it, though?
The full effects of SCP-184 on the location and the local people remain unknown, as several affected areas were destroyed by overeager local authorities during the recovery effort. However, some recovered documents indicate that SCP-184 was previously in the hands of a person of interest who had been holed up in the area. Locals refused to give interviews out of a sense of solidarity with this unnamed individual and each other. It was believed that the person of interest was charging money to let the locals keep SCP-184 in their homes for brief periods of time, allowing them to gain extra rooms that wouldn't be apparent to outsiders.
Wow.
Gordon Richards, a former member of the Mole Rats, shed some light on the recovery effort. Richards and his team arrived on June...
That dude's making a good business. Yo. And I'm assuming when it makes the rooms and you take, the SCP out of the room, those rooms will still be there. That guy's savvy. No pun intended. Yo.
June 3rd. He was intimidated by both the squalid environment of the Kowloon walled city itself and the hostility of the locals to him and his fellow Mobile Task Force members. From the outset, he regarded finding SCP-184 in all this mess to be a real challenge. On June 4th, local law enforcement cleared some of the affected areas of civilians and allowed the Mole Rats to explore uninhibited. The family homes they saw were definitely too large on the inside to logically fit within the exterior.
Got the perfect group for
They
this.
seemed otherwise normal. Tensions between the Mole Rats and the locals within the city were beginning to rise, though.
Oh my god, you better bop one of them.
Were beginning to buckle under the pressure. He saw one team member named Henry acting twitchy and talking to himself. On June 6th...
Oh my god, I thought he was going to be twitchy with the, the trigger finger. But hey, I'm glad it wasn't that far, bro. Like, don't hate me for assuming. Come on, guys.
In one of the supernaturally enlarged buildings, the team were attacked by hostile locals. Henry was killed in the process. He fell through a nearby wall and tumbled 6 stories down to his death.
You try to run away! We ain't gonna feel bad for you. Yo, come on now.
That's below.
Yellow
Richards
belly
was beginning to lose patience with the process and began to employ more extreme and questionable methods. On June 17th, Richards and his men started torturing locals, using beatings to extract information about the anomaly's location.
For real.
Eventually, it was Long Wen,
Oh.
an incredibly old village elder, who surrendered the location of the object that the locals called the Builder. It was supposedly hidden inside a nearby temple, or locals had begun worshipping it as a kind of holy gift.
Oh my
On
god.
June 10th, Richards and his men breached the temple. He remarked in his journal that the interior was incredible. An immensely complex network of rooms, easily the largest and most impressive building in an otherwise impoverished city.
And I wonder how long the SCP was in that room, man. Oh my god.
Their mission was clear. The team would explore the building until they retrieved SCP-184 and returned it to Foundation containment. But it didn't work out that way. Instead, over the following days, Richards and his team became lost. Rooms they entered became increasingly warped, with some being entirely made from jade, including all the objects within. Little by little, the team lost each other in the maze of rooms and halls within the temple.
I wonder if the old man tricked them from the jump, knowing that he probably won't be able to find the architect at all. Because they're probably going to get lost. This is
Richards lost track of the date, and his mental state began to falter over the last few entries into the journal.
God.
In the final entry, his mind seems to break entirely under the stress of panic, dehydration, and starvation.
Jesus.
He wrote, "Hell is heaven. Heaven is hell. Life is wonderful." Gordon Richards was never found, and he was assumed killed in action. A later detachment of
Crazy.
was able to successfully find SCP-184 and Richards' journal, though
How?
the body of the man himself was never discovered. SCP-184 has been given the classification Euclid, due to the fact that, while the object is unpredictable, the Foundation does appear to have devised semi-reliable containment procedures to mitigate its anomalous effects.
How?
For reasons discussed, SCP-184 obviously can't be contained within any kind of structure. Thankfully, the Foundation have been able to take advantage of the inherent magnetism of SCP-184's metal. The Foundation has constructed a fake park, in which SCP-184 is placed on a powerful electromagnet disguised as a podium. To the untrained observer, it would simply appear to be another piece of modern art, and the anomalous object is allowed to sit in what is perhaps the safest place for it to be, hidden in plain sight. The park, and anyone who visits it though, are of course closely monitored. Structures affected by SCP-184's anomalous effects are to be demolished after being inspected by a top-secret review board. After the...
I don't get it. So leaving it there won't duplicate anything? At all? I can understand hiding in plain sight, but... Wow. Maybe it has to be in an actual room or something, I guess.
Incident with the mole rats in the Kowloon walled city. Nobody is allowed to enter and explore one of the structures on behalf of the Foundation, without approval from their superiors and a rescue team on standby.
Get lost.
If SCP-184 is so dangerous, though, and impossible to actually contain inside any SCP Foundation site, then why is it allowed to exist at all? Why not just destroy it and remove any risk? Because SCP-184 might be far more powerful and important than anyone had previously thought.
And they're not the
A highly
GOC.
classified report, accessible only to those with Level 5 security clearance, presents an incredible picture of the potential of SCP-184 to shape and expand not just the rooms that it is contained in, but all of existence itself. The report documents the findings of a special exploratory mission, in which a special manned ship that was capable of faster-than-light travel was sent into deep space. What they found was nothing short of astounding. As they traveled past the point where the increasing expansion of the universe makes it impossible for light to reach Earth,
Okay.
what they found was that things started to repeat. They passed copies of our own Milky Way galaxy that contained versions of our own solar system and home planet. As they continued on, things continued to repeat,
No
over
way.
and over, each time becoming more flawed and corrupted. Sometimes, Mercury would be made of ice, or Uranus would consist entirely of turning gears. They could see the cities on Earth, mixed up and made of strange materials, like New York appearing to be carved from a single massive block of obsidian. The deeper they went into space, the more everything looked like a poor replica of our original visible universe.
Okay, this SCP is way too powerful. Is this still creating different planets and universes just being, just existing? Does it have that much, AoE for his abilities? Bro, I need to go into this SCP's file after this. Yo, this is nutty.
Foundation scientists currently believe that SCP-184 does not just change the rooms that it is in, but the entire universe itself. SCP-184 is the reason that the universe is expanding and producing new planets as flawed copies of the existing ones.
Exactly what I thought. Oh my god, this is nutty.
It may actually be the most cosmically significant force currently existing in our reality. And furthermore, the designation SCP-184 might not even be its real SCP number. It might actually be SCP-001. There are some who believe that it's
Yo, I got more than I asked for with this animation, guys. What? And that would make sense. This could be the origins of, literally the origins of all the other origins of SCP-001s, all the other proposals. Like, yo, let's hear that one more time.
It might actually be SCP-001. There are some who believe that its classification is a ruse to keep this incredibly powerful anomaly's true importance hidden from the lower rungs of the Foundation.
Wow.
After all, what is the easiest way to hide the identity of SCP-001, the architect of the universe and its infinite hordes of flaws? Don't classify it as a SCP-001.
The architect of the universe. Wow. And now I understand the name is given. Yo, this is crazy. This SCP has so much potential. And the abilities alone, literally, it just existing is creating new universes. What the heck? You cannot stop this. This is an SCP that you literally can't stop at all. Guys, there's nothing more to be said unless you guys know more information about this SCP and you'd like to shine some light on me. Let me know in the comment section below. But without any further ado, if you guys enjoyed this reaction, please smash that like button. This was juicy, man. And I'm glad I dived deep into it tonight. So with that all out the way, remember turn on post notifications as well so you don't miss an upload. And unfortunately, that concludes today's episode. However, I'll catch you guys on the next one. With